Hello, witches. Okay, I've tried to make this video now 2 times. And my old phone, yes, that is the phone that I record videos on usually. It was always hooked up to our Wi-Fi, so this would put it on YouTube easily. My new phone, I always had an issue with it, and I never understood why. So I'm gonna try it. Hopefully this will work. So I've tried to make this video. Well, I've made it already and it's on this phone, but it won't load. Basically, I don't know what happened. Maybe it's because we got new Wi-Fi, and I'm guessing that's it. So hopefully we'll see. Let's hope this works, or I don't know what I'm gonna do to make videos from now on. All right, so this is gonna be the week 7 YouTube Pagan Challenge video. I'm sorry. How do you view sacred text? And I'm gonna try and remember everything that I said in my last video, but it's probably gonna be a little bit hard. Sorry, I just look so awful lately. So how do I view sacred text? Well, like I said before, but you guys never saw it. I view sacred text as it is sacred. That is Serenity. That's my daughter. Hi, Pee-Pee. Sacred texts are something that is sacred to you. Just because it's not sacred to somebody else doesn't mean it's not sacred to you. I think that, my personal opinion, sacred text can be anything. It could be a book, a magazine, a blog, a video. It could be anything, a comic book. If you learned something from it and you took something from that and it meant enough to you to where it really made an impact on you and your spiritual self or your life or whatever, and that would be my definition of being sacred. And it can be whatever you want. If it actually put that much of an impact on you and yourself, then that's sacred. That's a sacred text to you. I have a couple books that I view very sacred. Other people might not think so, but they're sacred to me because they made a huge impact on my practice. My book, Italian Witchcraft by Raven Gramossi. Like I've said before, he's one of my all-time favorite authors. He is amazing. His views mean a lot to me. It has really helped me within my path. Being an Italian witch, practicing Stradigaria, but I'm not initiated. I've learned so much from him. I'm in his class right now for Ash, Birch, and Willow, which I've talked about before, and him and his wife, Stephanie, are amazing. I understand a lot of what people say because he is kind of repetitive, but he talks about it a lot. He does it on purpose. He's not just repeating himself over and over again just because he doesn't know what else to say. He does it because, as he was taught by his teacher, to repeat himself, he wants to make sure that we're absorbing the information, and I do understand that. And for him to actually care that much, to want us to learn, to make sure that we're learning it, and I don't think he means it like, oh, we're stupid, we're not going to remember it. I think he wants to make sure that we're learning it, and we're hearing it, and it's sticking to us. So that means a lot. I actually appreciate that, because my memory is, I forget things very easily. So I like that he does that in some ways. Sorry, I don't mean to keep moving the phone. My hand's in a weird position. I like that he does that. It actually helps me absorb the information in different contexts, in different ways, and so it sticks with me better. So that's a book I view very sacred. His other book, Grimoire of the Thorn-Blooded Witch, that and Old World Witchcraft, those two are constantly with me. I take them almost everywhere. I've read them both numerous times. I'm working with them now because they are about Ash, Birch, and Willow, and that is what I'm practicing and I'm studying and learning to hopefully be initiated into. So those two are very sacred for me. Sacred texts, in my opinion, they don't have to be necessarily old. They don't have to be written hundreds or 50 or so many years ago. They could have been written last month, last week, 2 years ago. If it's something that was truly meaningful to you and you have truly learned and taken something from and you have applied it to yourself and in your life, then that's sacred. And I think people kind of get up on their high horse about what's sacred and what's not sacred. I mean, there's a lot of people who don't, but there is some people who do. And, sacred text only can be this, and it has to be old, and it has to be part of an ancient practice, and it has to be this. Not necessarily, at least not in my opinion. I mean, I get where they're coming from, and yes, those are very sacred texts, things that were written hundreds of years ago. But that doesn't necessarily mean those are the only things that are sacred. Like I said, like a comic book, if the lessons that you learned in that if it meant a lot to you, that's sacred. I really like mythology. Mythology was made back in the olden days. Hold on, sweetie. Hold on, baby. It was made back in the olden days for people to learn and take from that. That is sacred to me. That means something to me. So to me, that's sacred. I don't know a lot of myths, but I do know. You're being silly. I do know quite a few, especially in the Greek and Roman traditions. And they, she wants to be on TV. So those are sacred to me because mythology back in the olden days was written as a lesson. They were written for people to take from them the lessons of the world and lessons of life. And to me, that is very sacred because to read them and know how many people read them before me and how many people have taken something from them and learned and applied it to their own lives, that's sacred to me because that, to me, that's amazing. That to me is absolutely beautiful. So in ancient texts, as far as that, yes, that I view as sacred. Most ancient texts I view obviously are sacred. Ow, 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 she's on my ankle. Sorry, she sat on my ankle. So yes, mythology I believe is very sacred. I believe that most people should be up on their mythology. Even if you don't work with the gods and the goddesses, and even if you don't work with deities or pantheons or whatever, if you only work with one pantheon, I don't think that you should only read up on that one pantheon. I believe, I'm sorry, and please don't look at my kitchen, it's dirty right now. But like I was saying, a lot of the pantheons have a lot of the same stories. Different things happen, but if you really look into it deeply, and that is to me what's most amazing. Ancient cultures back then had written about the same stories and the same, circumstances for different deities, and they had no way of knowing each other. That to me, that in itself is beautiful and sacred to me. So mythology can teach you a lot about life and spirituality and different things, lessons within your life. Everyday modern life can be learned and be learned how to learn. You can learn how to deal with it by different mythological stories because that is what they were meant for, to teach, to guide. And honey, please stop.
Okay.
Thank you. So I know you're silly. So that to me is very sacred. I know a lot of people don't look into mythology that much. Obviously you don't have to if you don't work with the gods and goddesses. Most people probably won't think there's any reason to, but I still think it's a good thing to know. It's a good thing to learn because, like I said, mythology, it has a lot of lessons in it and has a lot of really important information. And, and me personally, I just like folk tales and fables and stories like the Brothers Grimm stories. Those are amazing fairy tales. Like fairy tales, to me, have a bit of truth in all of them. They have a bit of truth and they have a bit of a life lesson and everything. And that's important to me. A lot of people love fairy tales, and I am one of those people that's just completely obsessed with them. Brothers Grimm is one of my all-time favorite. We actually have a couple different books of the Brothers Grimm's tales. Not like one story, but a couple of the big books. And that's just like with mythology. You can learn from them. You can read them and apply them to your lives. Obviously, there's things in there that you're not going to be able to. Like, I don't think I'm going to be strolling in the woods one day and I'm going to find a house with 3 bears and eat their porridge and break their chairs. You know what I mean? But as far as the life lessons goes, like in that story, what does that teach you? Manners. You don't walk into somebody's house. You know what I mean? There's different things that in all tales and fables that you can take from, and everybody can take from them separately. So sacred to me is something that means something to you. It's something that you have taken from, that you apply to your own life as sacred. And I know I'm saying the same thing over and over again, but it's just, I'm also trying to remember everything I went over, because the 1 minute video I made, it was like a 15-16 minute video. I can't freaking get it to load. That's annoying. That stresses me out. Sorry. But yeah, I'm trying to remember everything I said in it. And so I don't want to just sit here looking stupid, but but as in books and articles and things like that about paganism and witchcraft and spirituality and lessons, just because it's sacred doesn't necessarily mean it has to be about witchcraft or it has to be about spirituality. You could be reading an article on the best way to clean your oven and find a spiritual lesson in that. I mean, that's what I mean by however you take from it. Comic books, I was listening to something because, there's the new Batman, Superman versus whatever movie coming out. And they were talking about how the DC comic characters have literally become a form of, and some people view them as they did the ancient Greek gods. And I can see that. Definitely, there's people out there that do that, they have become a serious staple in our society. And reading comic books, it teaches you life lessons and you can learn and grow from them as well. So that's what I mean, as in no matter what it is, if it means something to you and you've grown from it, then it's sacred. That's really all that I think that I have to say about it, even though I said the same thing over and over again, probably 50 times. I'm sorry. There was more, but I don't know, even sacredness, I know we're talking about text here, but like a plant, my plants I view very sacred. They are my children, my guides, my guardians. They are my spirits that I have a close relationship with, even if they're just being born and sprouted or if they've been alive for 2 years. No matter what stage of life they're in, they are sacred to me, and I learn from them. I watch the way they grow and the way my rue plant. Okay, rue doesn't grow very well in some states, especially in America, because it gets so cold. Winter this past year was not winter at all. It was winter 1 week here, a couple days here, a couple weeks here, warm. It was weird. It wasn't a real winter, basically. My rue plant lived the entire year. I thought she died because she was covered, the whole top of her was brown. So I thought she died. I went over there last week and picked up all the dead off. It was only the top layer. She is flourishing and gorgeous and beautiful. And so is my wormwood and my hellebore, my chamomile. Some of my rosemary plants are even still alive. And that, to me, taught me a serious life lesson. I'm not a winter person. I don't like the cold very much. But in order to be one with the spiritual realm, to be one with nature, you have to grow with all of it. You have to take and learn from all of it. And to see the strength of my plant that normally cannot live in a cold environment, that normally probably hates it more than I do, to see her flourish and her grow and her be just as strong and beautiful as the day she was when I got her, that definitely put an impact on me. And it really made me kind of think about, okay, if she can do that, so can I. And she is my strong, beautiful, protective, prosperous, I can't stop saying enough good things about her, because to see her in that, I'm sorry, when I moved the camera, it just made my face look weird. To see her in that strength and in that beauty, that's my son. To see her, it really taught me. Honey, hold on, I don't know, please stop, okay, hold on. To see that made me really learn that I can grow, and I can take from winter the good and not just the bad. There is such a beauty in winter, and I have always just kind of, baby, please stop banging on that. I've always just kind of get away. I just shoot it away. I've never paid much attention to how beautiful it is. And that really taught me this year not to do that. That, I really need to honor it for what it is and not from what I don't like about it. So that is another way of viewing sacred items, I guess you could say. So I know this has nothing to do with text, but you know what I mean. So that is my video on how do I view sacred texts and mythology and sacredness in general, I guess you could say. All right, you guys, blessed be. Much love. I will see you next time. Bye.